We are live. Hey everyone, we're live with Ericka, and I already messed your name up once, so I won't say your last name again like we talked earlier. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm trying to stay awake because we did 10 locations last night in Titusville, commercial
Oh,
locations,
wow.
because they're trying to get it ready for a ghost tour. So
Mhm.
they asked us if we could come up there and investigate some of the locations they want to put on a tour and see if we can get some evidence. So we went to bed about 4:45 in the morning, then got back up at 9 and drove back home. And I've got 4 kids. My youngest is 4, so I didn't get to sleep. I just been up. So, but I'm doing good. How are you doing up in the north part of Florida there?
I'm doing great. I just came from an event where Brian Watley was speaking, and he rocked the house. He was teaching kind of paranormal equipment and just investigations for newbies. And he had some of the cutest little jokes and just whatnot. And then we all went out to dinner and just been having a blast ever since then. So happy to join you tonight.
That's awesome. Hey, and you guys are an hour behind us, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind
yeah.
of.
It's about 8:30ish now.
I think that's the weirdest thing that our state, Florida, is that big that there's a time change. You know?
I know. I went down to South Florida to visit a friend of mine, or some friends of mine, lots of friends. But anyway, it was just so weird. It's like, yeah, I'm like, it's 7 o'clock my time, it's 8 o'clock their time. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about it. I had forgot that there was a time change, and I was thinking about when I come up in October for the Pensacola Paracon, I'm actually going to gain an hour. I'm like, sweet. I'll be flying up
Yeah,
there. It'll kill me though when I come back because I'll lose that hour.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
hey,
that does often works wonders when we get that daylight savings time and we get that extra hour, or we're doing traveling. And it's really funny is I get a lot of calls from California, and they're like 3 hours, I think, different. And I'm like
yes,
trying to count and figure out, okay, what time is it over there?
yeah,
They've got
California.
it awesome.
Yeah, the West Coast was messed up because I went a few years back to my brother's in Seattle for his retirement party, and it took me a couple days to finally get used to the time change. By then,
Yeah.
I was getting ready to go back home, and then I had to readjust back on the East Coast here. I don't. I could never be one of those people that travel back and forth all the time. You know,
Yeah,
it was
me,
just
me too. I did it for, I mean, I'm gracious to be able to go wherever anybody wants me to be. I love to travel. I love to meet new people, and it was a goal of mine to kind of be a part of these conventions and add a little paranormal psychic to it. And I was traveling a lot, the last couple of years, and everything kind of slowed down in the paranormal with the economy the way it is, but I welcome travel, and I love to travel. So if you got a convention you want me to be there, call my agent.
call your agent, and your agent is Demented Entertainment, right?
Yes, pretty
Yes.
much, Mike, and also night management too. Whoever, I'm an equal opportunist, so they can call me or call them. It's all good.
That's
Just
awesome.
call.
Just call. I'll be there. That's awesome. I'm the same way. You know, I always tell people if you want me to come hang out, hey, I'll if I can investigate, like coming out to you guys, I'm going to be able to investigate some locations on the 2 nights. I'm just excited to be able to investigate locations up in Pensacola. I don't usually get up that far, so it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, and I hate that we took the old Sacred Heart Hospital off the itinerary because someone had asked me about investigating it, and I pretty much called and made it happen. And it hadn't really been investigated because the owners there didn't want anybody there. And I pulled it at the last minute because there's several levels of that hospital that's it's just condemned pretty much. I mean, they don't want anybody up there, and I just had a bad omen feeling that somebody was going to be like a paranormal, prankster or something and want to go someplace they shouldn't go and that they would get hurt. And I didn't want that responsibility morally or legally for that matter for people that wouldn't, just do the right thing. So unfortunately, but that is a location that if you want to break from the conference and head over there, that is an awesome location. The old Sacred Heart Hospital used to be a mental health hospital, and you can literally see nuns walking around as full-blown apparitions there, especially in the daytime or night.
So So can
It
you
lives up to its name.
can you hook me up there to do an investigation at some
Oh, you
point?
can just walk in. They've got, but we'll talk all about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll definitely get you hooked
Yeah,
up.
we'll talk off the air here and set it up where no one can butt in on our conversation. Now, I was talking with you earlier today, and I've talked with you on Facebook and through emails and that. Now, you're a psychic. You have a gift. When did you learn that you had this gift? Like, at what age?
Well, I come from the old school thinking that we're all psychic. We're all intuitive, just like animals are. We all have an inner, I'm going to say we've got our five senses, our taste, touch, smell, hearing, and all that, and the touch. And we also have a knowing, an inner knowing that comes, I believe, from almost like a godlike quality. And we all have it, just like we all can sing, but not all of us are Mariah Careys. Not all of us are, I don't know, whoever your favorite singer is, you know. So I think that as at a young age, coming from a family with women that had a strong ability in psychic intuition, I learned that I could see apparitions of dead people when I was about 7 or 8 years old. And I kind of blocked it out and didn't want to see it, and I guess it went away. And I always found that I was very empathic, you know, like if there was a child that had been hurt or, you know, people weren't feeling good or somebody was in a bad mood or, you know, I met a person as a child and I didn't like them. You know, they used to call me nonchalant. My family did. They said, she's so nonchalant. And it was because when I would meet people, adults, literally, I just knew that they were not good or I didn't need to be around them or I would just feel things on them. And they used to call me an old soul. She's a nonchalant little old soul. And it was because of that. I could feel their, empathically, I could feel things about them. And that kind of developed a little bit later as I went to, you know, into high school and whatnot. But I think at an early age I just could see ghosts. And then I said, oh, go away, I don't like to see you. And it went away. And I'm here now today, you know, wanting to see them more because, you know, I think that they honor us as children. They don't want to scare us. They don't want to hurt us. The good ones don't. And they give us our free will.
You know, I feel the same way what you were saying earlier about, I think everyone's sensitive in some way. It just depends if you open up to it, or like you said, some people aren't as in tune, just like you were saying about singing. Some people can sing really good. Some people think they can sing really good, but they really can't. But, yeah, I think everyone has some type of sensitive side because it's like when you're driving down the road, you take the same road every day home from work, and one day you decide something tells you, maybe I shouldn't go this way, and then an accident happens on that road you've been driving for the last 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I think things like that, I'm sensitive in a way, I can see things ahead of time, and I can find things. I get like little images in my head if people need, like at my house, my family's always like, if they need to find something, they give me a few minutes of being peace and quiet, I can concentrate for a minute and I can actually find things. It's kind of cool. So
you're like one of those like metal detectors for finding stuff, a psychic metal detector.
Yes, I don't see dead people. I might hear messages, but my friend Pam, that's sensitive, she said I don't listen to them. So that's one of my bad traits. I'm not listening to my inner spirit guides and that, you know. Can you still hear me, Ericka?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I'm running you through Skype, and some nights Skype is my best friend, and some nights it's just horrible. So I was just worried there for a second. I didn't hear nothing on your end.
Yeah, I was hearing my son back in the background saying, "Yeah, Dad, yes, sir." What? And I'm thinking, okay, I'm live radio, guys.
How old's your son?
I have two. I have an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old.
My youngest is 4. I have a 4-year-old little girl, a 7-year-old son, 11-year-old son, and a 15-year-old daughter. So,
wow.
Yeah, we got a house full. So
I honor you for that.
Yeah, you should honor my wife. She takes most of the brunt of it.
Yeah.
I'm just support a lot of times for stuff going around the house, trying to help out. Now, we were talking about you being a psychic medium, and you do your gift. You do readings, right?
Yeah. Primarily, I think I'm used. for all kind of things. It's some people want to actually try to connect, and I say try to connect with people that have passed, because you can't be guaranteed that they're going to connect with me or whoever, and that's important to stress that for people. But yeah, my specialty, I would say, is mediumship, which is connecting to people that have passed. But I also do psychic readings, which are more like related to love, life, career. Can be precognitive, like future-based. But for me, and I stress this as well, is that our future is so fluid. A lot of people say, okay, they go to a psychic, they want a fortune teller, they want somebody to tell them the future. And I kind of shy away from that whole process because, I do have people that I do the stocks for them every 3 months and financial, and should I invest in this or should I buy this property or whatever, and that is kind of future-based. But everything in future is fluid. So what I tell people is don't become a slave to the psychic. If the psychic says don't go out of the house on January 14th, don't sit in the house January 14th and 15th and 16th because, life is fluid. You can change. We're just a map along with your intuition and your action, but we're just a map. And that's why I say to people, the future is so fluid. Don't get caught up in thinking that some psychic has to tell you what the future is going to be, because most psychics deal with the here and now, not so much the precognitive future.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd really want someone telling me the future. I'd rather just experience it, because like you said, if someone tells you something's going to happen, or don't go this place, you're going to stress about not going there. And I think that's worse than knowing than not knowing. I'd rather just, if something's going to happen, it's going to happen. No matter what.
Yeah, and to me, the future is fluid. It's only a map or a guide. It's not saying that it's concrete in stone that's going to happen for sure. I believe that we're forewarned of things. Just like you mentioned driving in the car and you were forewarned possibly about not going down this particular road that day. I believe that we do get insight from our ancestors and spirit guides, or your fairies or your dragons, whatever your concept is, we do get insight. But even though that they give us that insight, it is fluid and it can be changed by our actions and our thoughts and our intentions.
Yeah, I feel the same way about, I don't know, I just think if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. No matter how many psychics tell you that something's coming, sooner or later, I think it'll catch up to you. Even if you miss it that day, like you were saying, if you don't go out on that day, I just think sooner or later, destiny will catch up to you. Now, I have a question from the chat room from Lori from Old Gilchrist Jail Ghost Hunters. She wants to know, what do you do to strengthen your abilities? Like, how would someone try and make yourself more open to being more sensitive or touching the other side?
That's an awesome question. Leads me into a joke that I heard today. You meditate. And for me, meditation is just simply praying and asking and listening and receiving. And then the joke is, so some people say they don't know how to meditate. How do you meditate? Well, you think about it. That was the joke that I heard today. I thought was so cute. But this is the thing that's kind of interesting with meditation or trying to enhance your abilities. You may be very clairvoyant initially. You may start out where you have an awesome lucid dreaming. You're having these wonderful dreams with these ancestors or these people that you may have interacted at a paranormal investigation. You may dream about them, or you may just be very visual, or you may literally go into a paranormal location and see apparitions or orbs, and your visual is off the charts. And then you work and you meditate and you open up and you ground yourself and you ask. This is the big thing. You ask for help. You ask to be guided. You ask that your gifts strengthen. And then you find out that your clairvoyance, which is to see clearly, kind of dwindles. And you get real mad and you become more clairaudient, meaning you hear more. And maybe you can actually have interlog, back and forth interlog with these spirits that are past. And then you get bummed out because you don't have the clairaudience or the clairvoyance as well, or you may become more of an empath. So understand that your abilities can harness, they can grow, they do change. And a lot of times people get bummed out because they say, well, I've lost one thing. But actually, you've never lost it. You have to learn to adjust your knobs. And what I would say is that when you're doing your psychic development, have a little system where you either pull a switch, like a light switch to turn on your clairvoyance. And I use like the little, like 70s, like, digital like radio where they had the big huge knobs that you had to turn to like 22 to get high volume. I use those because I'm old school. So I turn on my clairaudience, I turn on my clairvoyance, I turn on my empathy, I turn all those psychic senses. And when I'm like having difficulty, like freaking out because my clairvoyance isn't on, I turn that knob up some more. And that's just a little thing that you can use as well to enhance your abilities. Meditate, definitely. Find a way to turn up the psychic volume, so to speak. And I've met several psychics. Some people use like the pull switches, like, on a light, whatever works for you.
I think it's really hard for people nowadays too, like how Lori was asking, because I don't know, I just turned 40, but man, the speed of life has changed so fast the way people run their lives nowadays. I think it's so hard for people just to sit down and actually meditate and relax. People that just that haven't been doing it for years, they just want to start now. It's just such a fast-paced life we all live now,
Well, it's a big misconception that meditation has to be quiet. It doesn't. You can have walking meditation where you're just walking and like vegging out to, some your favorite music. Whatever you feel that gets you in the zone is what works for you. And it doesn't have to be a quiet meditation. Some people actually do a mantra in their head, like Om, or they say a repetitive thing or listen to a repetitive sound. Or other people use like a guided meditation, or they use a visual meditation, or what's like a muscle release kind of technique where they focus on different areas of their body. And I think for people that are busy, because I have kids and there's lots of noise in my house, quiet meditation doesn't work. Find something that works for you. If you got to get the earphones on and go to YouTube and look at one of their little swirly kind of chakra meditations where they have like the weird noise and the red and the blue and the yellow. I mean, find something that works for you.
Yeah, just something that's on, like when you listen to music and that, you don't have to always listen to that hypnotic music. If you're more into something a little heavier, like you said, you got to get into your like flow, and things can run like that. I have a question. Barbara from the chat room was asking, if you begin meditation while lying down, does it still benefit you if you fall asleep? I use my breathing to focus on.
I actually posted something on Facebook today that was kind of helpful in the same question. Because what happens with people is they start meditating and then they fall asleep and they drift into la-la land or dreamland. And yes, they can have, insight during the dream world because that's the easiest point for them to talk to us. But what happens is we don't always remember the insight that we get while we're dreaming unless it's something really, really sporadic and we wake up and we've got that pen right next to the bed and we're writing it down. So what I recommend is like right before you go to sleep, develop a technique that works for you to keep you in that lucid state. And one of the things that I mentioned today was called dream spinning. And I know that sounds weird, but I'm a princess and I love to twirl around the house all the time. And if you could think about, like, while you're sleeping or trying, go into that state of sleep, see your physical body twirl around, like spin around. And there's a really wonderful article that I just put on Facebook this morning about how to do that and who made it, who had this concept. But what I do, for me, is easy. If I'm laying in bed and I'm trying to meditate, to keep myself from falling asleep, I move my limbs, I move my fingers, I talk, I move my body, and I make sure that I'm still awake. And that's the easiest thing to do. And as you get advanced, more so in the lucid dream state or the dream state, start to learn to twirl and spin. And another thing that I've learned when you're getting in that state, learn to use what I call is like a magnifying glass, or if you want to go microscope, if you're really technical, you could think about a location and putting it in a microphone, a glass or, you know, a magnifying glass, and you would go to that point, move closer, move backward, where you're actually kind of moving things around, seeing things in a three-dimensional way, and that'll help you stay awake as well. Because really what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to be able to document the things that you're seeing and be able to be lucid enough to ask questions. I mean, if you see your grandmother, you want to say, hey, how are you doing? Not fall into la-la land and sleep.
That's awesome, because I will admit, when I've tried, you know, relaxing and just trying to concentrate on something, it's harder sometimes when you lay down. But like you were saying, if you keep moving your hands or different stuff to keep yourself somewhat awake. I've had times, I don't know if this is meditation, but I don't know if you've ever experienced this. When you first go into a sleep, or not a sleep, but you're just laying there relaxing, sometimes you're like looking in a dream. And it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're dreaming, sometimes it's not as clear as real life. It's kind of like a little foggy. Sometimes it's like, I don't know, like something pulls back, and I can see everything clear as though I'm living it. And it only does it for like maybe a split few seconds. Even if I try and hold it open, then it goes back to the way you would see a dream. What does that mean?
Well, that's kind of like what I'm talking about. It's like in that state, you can so learn to control that. I used to always, when I first fell asleep, I was in a movie theater. I have no idea why I was in a row of the movie theater. And then I would just, like, see the screen of the movie theater and see these people sitting, and I'm thinking, okay, what the world is this? And then it would go away, and I'm like, no, come back. I want to see, you know, whatever. And then I found a way through what I was saying about focusing in on it. It's almost like if you could think of how you would turn a magnifying glass or a telescope or something like that. It's almost turning those knobs. It's a physical thing that you do in your mind's eye that helps you go forward, move around, split things. It's like the more, I don't know how to explain it, but the more you get into it and move forward and twist and turn, the more that stays. And there becomes a process where you're actually in control. And a lot of people say, well, when I dream, like, I'm not in control of my dreams. I've always been in control of my dreams. It's just the weirdest thing. I can fly if I want to. And you know, I can have scary dreams, and like Jason's trying to kill you. I always could stop Jason. I'm like, I'm dreaming. This is a dream. And you can do this. And trust me, you can do it.
You know, I'm the same way, too. I control all my dreams. Out of all the years I've been alive, I've only had one night. It was more of a nightmare. Like my dream, like you say, you control your dream. You know kind of what's going to happen. Like you said, if Jason comes. When I was younger, I had one dream. I was controlling it, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it was at my house in Buffalo. I went to go let my dog out. My mom's like, "Oh, go let the dog out." In my dream, so I'm like, "Okay." As I opened a door, like I was nervous to open a door, and just as I reached for it, also the door just blew open. Someone come through. I couldn't see him. They hit me in my stomach and knocked me down the stairs. And before I hit, I popped awake. And I was like, it freaked me out because like you say, I've always been in control of my dreams, and it was like weird. And then the odd thing was, next week, my dad wasn't home and the dream started happening. We were sitting there. My mom's like, "Hey, you gotta let the dog out." And I start walking towards the door, and I'm like, "Oh my God, is this gonna happen?"
Deja vu. Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm like this. I'm reaching around the corner, so I have the wall in front of me trying to get the door. My mom's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing. I'm just trying to open the door." So I think it's funny.
I had a similar dream. I was dreaming about a friend of mine from my past, and I saw them get shot. And it was like when they got shot, I got shot. It freaked me out so bad. I mean, it was just crazy. I mean, I woke up shaking, literally shaking. And the first thing I thought of, oh my God, this person must have got shot, or let me make sure they're not going to get shot. And for me, it was more of a precognitive dream. It was a warning to come that I explained to them. It was good that I explained it to them because in their profession, it would help them to know that they need to be more cautious. So I do believe that we have precognitive dreams like that, not to scare the crap out of us, but sometimes to warn us about things.
Yeah, just give a heads up to someone that, hey, you better be more careful. Especially, someone might be getting a little bit lax, getting just relaxed at their job. Someone maybe got to give them a heads up, say, hey, someone's telling me you better be on your guard or be on your toes more.
Yeah.
Now, earlier, I've got a couple questions people in the chat room wanted to ask you. I explained earlier in the show that you said you could try and do readings if I gave you people's names and questions. I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit on them in just a minute, but I wanted to talk. We were talking earlier about spirit guides, and I call it remote reading.
Mhm.
And I wanted to hit on the spirit guides first, if you don't mind.
Okay,
I
sure.
liked your. I say it's a theory because I'm an investigator, but I like the way you explained how you feel spirit guides are. Can you let the viewers know about how you feel what spirit guides are?
A lot of people, because this runs in my family, a lot of people have asked me, well, who do you think tells you these things? Are they your spirit guides? And I say, well, in my circumstance, I don't really see them as spirit guides. I said, I see them as my angelic entourage, but more so, I see them as ancestry. These, for me, the people that talk to me are my family members, are your family members that have passed, but primarily my concept of intuition for me. And I do believe that people have spirit guides, but I think that sometimes they're misunderstood. And the example that I give is that I have two boys right now. And if I were to die, let's say 100 years from now, I would want to come back and say, okay, I want to see how my sons, if they had children, and if their children had children, how they are. Okay, and say one of the children, say they were going to be in some danger. Say they were going down this road, and they were going to meet this friend, and this friend was going to lead them to jail. And I could foresee this. So I wanted to do what I could as a relative, way in the past, coming back as an ancestor, loving my lineage and wanting to be a part and help heal the family and keep the family together. I could intervene or interact with this particular alive human, me as a deceased spirit, and say, look, maybe whisper in their ear, don't go here. And then maybe for some reason this person doesn't go there and they don't meet this person, and then that outcome does not happen. So I feel that sometimes when people feel that they have spirit guides, I say look at your ancestry, look at your family history. And it's interesting, I was reading a lady about a couple weeks ago, and I was looking behind her, and I saw this she was a white female, and I saw this very African-looking male, and I'm thinking, who in the world is this? Because it did not feel like he should be in her family, or, I can understand if he was a spirit guide for her, if he was a relative. And honestly, he was a relative, the way that he communicated to me. And it was, when we look at back in history, it's not uncommon that you would have possibly Irish ancestry, maybe some Native American, maybe this and this and that. And it's not uncommon for someone to want to see their lineage. And that's my explanation at sometimes in the process of my mediumship, when I talk to people and their loved ones, they are ancestry. They're not so much spirit guides, and that's what I found in my studies.
I thought that was cool. We were talking about that earlier, joking around about, everyone thinks their family tree just goes, don't really branch out real far. But like you said, you don't know. You might have an ancestor who is an Irishman and that's your spirit guide, but he's actually related to you in some way back in the generations, But I think that's a cool concept that I'm telling you right now, I would check on, because I've got the two boys and the two girls, I would check, after I passed, I would check on their great-grandkids just to see how things are going, like you said, see if you could help them. I'd definitely come back and try and help them in some way. So I just think that was cool.
Yeah. I think it's neat, and when we look at how much we research our ancestry as humans, alive humans, how we go to roots.com or ancestry.com because we want to find out about, were we relatives to the Wright brothers, or, did we have this in our family or this? I mean, would they not do the same? I mean, would they not want to see their lineage? Would George Washington not want to see his lineage? Would he not want to, see his offspring? And I would say yes. I think that they do have intervention if they can.
Yeah, I definitely agree with it. I would definitely try and intervene if I could with my great-grandkids or something. If something was going to happen, I could just, like what I was talking earlier, tell them, get in their ear and tell them, hey, maybe take this road today from work instead of the same route,
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was speaking earlier with you. I call it remote Oh my God, I'm got a brain fart.
Remote viewing?
Yeah. And you were talking about how you can actually almost. Do you actually like feel like you've left your body and you're walking through a location?
No, it's just weird. I just close my eyes and I just go someplace. It's like I focus on going to like a location, and I have this. I guess I'm OCD in a way. I have to turn the doorknob to enter the location. That's my click. That's my thing. If you ever see me do this, you actually see me turn a doorknob and walk into the location, and it's something that I've just done, and it works. And then I go wherever I'm drawn, and I can tell you things about the home, like if it's got wood paneling, if there's something on the fireplace mantle. It's just really weird. I do that, and I don't feel like I leave my body at all. But I have done astral traveling, which is a little different, where I actually physically go to another location. It's usually through a meditation, but for me, for remote viewing, I don't really have to like get in like a zone. It's just I close my eyes and I turn a doorknob and then I go there.
So that's cool. I know my friend Rich Valdez. He has a guy on his team, Angel, that's up in Georgia, and he can do that when they have a case coming up. He'll do that remote viewing, or actually physically not physically, but go through the place. Like you say, you can see it and walk through doors. And I just think that's awesome. Actually, you did it earlier on the phone with me. You were talking about the one location I was at last night, and I didn't even tell you anything about it, and you described quite a bit of things that were inside this house. So that was kind of cool. And I wasn't even.
Yeah, I've met like really cool skeptics, and I tell everybody when you meet me, I'm a skeptic, because my concept is that when you go to a psychic, you shouldn't be telling the psychic stuff about you. I mean, the psychic should be telling you stuff. That's why you pay them, literally. But I just have this thing that I love to do. I have an uncle who's a police officer here in town, and he used to give me names of people that he knew died, like, cases that he worked, and it would be like during Thanksgiving, and he'd pull me in the kitchen, and they would love to like test me or debunk me or something, and they say, okay, what about such and such? And I said, okay, yeah, he died by the railroad track, and he da 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 da, and then they'd be like, damn, how do you do that? And it's like, well, you should know because you do it too, but it's just funny that I think that it's less is best in any kind of psychic kind of thing. Less is definitely best.
I thought it was funny too that you say it or you're telling that story, because I was telling you earlier how the lady on my team, Pam, I always tested her because it's my skeptic side. I don't let her know anything at some of the locations, and I'll ask her questions to see if she picks up on anything. And sometimes I get a little OCD too on that, but it's that OCD side of you. You just want to see, can you really, I want to see if she can really pick up on things, and I tell you, she's very good at it too. She picks up a lot of things that you were telling me today about that location. She had hit on it too when she walked through the house with the kids and the kids' spirits and everything that she felt there. Now, I have a couple of people that have sent me some questions. I don't know. I talked to you earlier. You said you were cool with it. They had a question. You want me just to read their name and a question?
Yeah, I want like the first name only, not the whole name.
Nope. Yeah, I'll just give you the first name.
And then the question. Yeah.
All right. The first one is, her name is Laura, and she wants to know if she has a spirit in her house, and if so, who is it?
Okay. What I do is I would go to Laura's house now, and I know that sounds weird for people that don't understand how it works. So I'm going to go to Laura's house right now, and I'm going to walk in the door, and she can comment in the chat room if I'm on or off or whatever, but that's all good.
Okay.
I'm going to Laura's house right now. Now, when I'm outside of Laura's house, I've got like two textures. Like, you know how some houses have brick on the bottom and they have vinyl siding on the top, or wood siding or something, but there is a feeling of having, I can't say this is a mobile home, but it's like two textures on the outside, and they emphasize that. I feel like I'm walking in one level, so this to me doesn't feel like a double house or a two-story home. And as soon as I walk in the door, I'm drawn to the left-hand side of the house, all the way back. In the left-hand corner, there's a bathroom, like right by a bedroom, like in between. I don't know if she's got a bed, like a bedroom, a bathroom, and a bedroom is how I'm seeing this, but I'm drawn to that left side of the house, way in the back. And there's a man that I connect with who's actually an older man, and he should have, I don't know if he died in this particular home, but he should have been old, and I know it sounds crazy, but he should have had like a cane or something, and I can see his skin, and it's really weird. He's not a black man, literally, but he's got like white skin, and you know how people with diabetes have like the purplish kind of, I can see the veins in his skin. There's something about his legs that he's showing me that. And I'm going to say that he's not a negative spirit, but he is in that back bedroom the way that I see it. And there's like a girl in the house. I'm talking about a live girl. There's almost like a live child or girl in the home that I see that for some reason this man is upset with her. Like, I don't know if this girl has a daughter in the home, but I feel like there's a mom and a child, and the interaction between the mom and the child is why this man spirit is upset. So I don't know if he doesn't like the way the daughter treats the mom or the interaction between them, but I hear him grunting like like a man would do, and that's what I get. So I would say yes, there is a male spirit in the house, and he feels protective to me. He feels like he's been in the home, he's lived in the home, maybe even died in the home, and he's more concerned about the family or this interaction with this particular girl or a daughter if she had one.
She was in the chat. She's in the chat room. She was saying yes to pretty much everything you were saying. So that's that's very cool.
And ask her, is there a little doggy in the house? Because I've got a dog too. It's curly like a poodle, but it's not a poodle. It's got curly hair.
She just put "holy cow," so I guess she does have a little dog.
Yeah, and it's creepy that I can go to people's houses, but one thing that I will say that I don't do, ha, 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 I'm laughing about this, I don't go to people's houses without their permission, because I think that, to me, that's disrespectful. And even though sometimes I want to so bad to spy on people, I think that with this ability, you have to be respectful to the living and the dead. And I just want to say, if you are a remote viewer or you are an astral traveler, don't go where you're not invited, because it's very rude and it's just not a good thing, okay?
Yeah, that's what I didn't explain to people when I said, that's why Ericka wanted you to just give your first name and a question, so you're pretty much, if you're asking a question, you're giving her permission. So if it's something you don't want to hear, be careful, because you don't know what Ericka what will come to her. So just
and I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, that's
but
cool.
Another thing that I like too is that she could have told me her name was Patty. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's not really about her name. It's, for me, that's permission. When you acknowledge your name, it's permission for me to do what I do. And I do like stress with people when I read for them in person, or if you've been to any of my galleries, which rock. But I always tell the audience, I don't want you to say anything to me. If I'm hitting it, don't tell me what's going on. I don't even want you to talk, and that may sound rude, but it's actually for me and for you, your benefit, because I'm a skeptic, and you should be a skeptic too. Would you like to be a skeptic too? And once you have that experience, like the lady in the chat room, and you can validate these things, it's really your message. It's not for me to know, but it also helps you believe. And that's really what I want people to do. I want them to believe that when we lose our loved ones, it's not the end. They just change forms. They come back and they check on us. They give us inspiration. They give us hugs. They give us goosebumps. They visit us in our actual physical homes, in our dream state, and they want us to know that they love us. And they comfort us when we're sad. And if a psychic can tell you something that there's no way that I would know, literally, that helps you believe. And that's what I'm here for. That's my goal, is to help you believe.
Well, Lori, she gave you a big thank you, Ericka, in the chat room, so
well, thank you back.
All right, I'll hit you up with another one here. Let me see. Okay, the next one, Michelle wants to know if a spirit guides. Oh, can it be? I'm sorry. This is an old question. We had to answer this one about relatives. Sorry.
Okay.
That's me. That's my sleepiness. Reading the wrong question. Sorry. Actually, it's another one from Michelle. Wants to know if her mother had any awareness the night that she had passed, and if she has any messages.
Okay, let me focus on Michelle. Okay, and see, I make this understanding too that when I focus on mother, the word mother for Michelle, because I usually do words and not questions, but just for radio and time and stuff. Mother for Michelle, the only thing I get is a kiss on the top of the head. I don't get anything else. And what I have to tell people is that sometimes psychics, they get into so much in the ego of like, oh my God, I've got to like say something. I've got to blow them away. I've got, I is ego. We have to be able to say, look, that's all I get, and I'm sorry, but that's all I get. But for Michelle, the only thing I get is a lady kissing you on the top of the head.
That's cool. Let me see, I got one more here. Pam wants to know if Ericka can fill her in on what Harold is trying to give me and who is the spirit hanging out upstairs in my house.
Okay. Too much information because you told me it was upstairs.
Oh.
Just okay, let me just focus on Pam and let me see what's going on. Okay, going to Pam. Let's see. Okay, first of all, Pam, I got to congratulate you. Somebody's telling me something about your body, like your physical body. And it's almost like if your body was a certain weight and it's decreased. I'm seeing like it getting smaller, or you may have lost weight, or you're in the process of losing weight, and they're making me feel like they're congratulating for you because this is a struggle of some sort or some kind of goal. Okay, the next thing that they show me is like you writing, sweetie, so like writing in a book, literally. So I'm going to tell you if you're not doing that, do it. If you're doing it, continue. And then also, when I go into your house, it's the opposite side. It's the right-hand side for me. It's not the far right, it's more of the front of the house. It's actually where I'm drawn. And I don't really get like a live-in spirit for you, but what I do get is something what feels like a sensitive, literally. Like you may be sensitive and not know it, because I almost feel like you go places, and what we have these things called hitchhikers, okay? And they're people that are drawn to us because we're lights, and they want to talk to us. They're lonely sometimes, and they want to come around, and they want to, like, hang out. And what I'm going to say is you don't have, like, an active spirit in your house. It's like chilling out, vegging out with you. But you are sensitive to some degree where you could go to a location that's haunted and actually have activity around you. And they could come home with you, but they don't feel like they stay. So I can't say that the house feels haunted to me. You may be a beacon for spirits at points, but that's pretty much all I get with you. And okay, I'm not understanding that, but hold on, let me see. Let me go again with you. Okay, I got something totally different now, sweetie. Someone is trying to tell you something. You know how like people can get killed, literally? This was like a cold case to me, or someone in your family that was murdered. And I feel like there's somebody reaching out that's trying to show you about something about a death. Or it's not like a car accident. It's something that seems to me to be accidental, but it's really not accidental. So what I would say to you is if you've had a relative or a family member, a relative is the same thing. If you had someone close to you, like a friend or someone who had like a tragic accident or was murdered or something, I feel like there's somebody trying to show you something. I almost want to call it a hitchhiker ghost, but they're trying to show you something about their death. Pam is how I'm picking this up.
She's saying yes in the chat room, so. I actually left something out of the question so it wouldn't throw you off. Do you want me to tell you?
Sure.
She had asked, fill her in on what Harold is trying to give her. He's actually deceased. I didn't tell you that. I just said what Harold was trying to give you. I didn't know if you knew he was deceased or... And Pam says, okay, thank you. So you hit on what she was...
Thank you.
Now, I have a question. I have a question from... Oh, let me get it. Sorry. it's one of these things, you press on things and other things click. Kathy wants to know what she sees to her money and career.
Okay, whoever this lady is, I have this saying, people are a hot mess, and it's in love, okay? But she would be someone that I would like to go out with and have fun. She's got a very, really, really genuine spirit, but I'm going to say a very cool spirit, like a real cool spirit. Very young and youthful feeling. And for me, it feels like right now there are a lot of choices coming up with her career. I would say for her to stay put, because I don't feel like I'm doing anything literally, with career. And things are going to get really rocky. I hate to say this, for the next couple of months, and there's some abrupt, stop or change. If you can hang on, we don't have that many more months until the new year. The new year for me brings change for you, but also change in location. It doesn't feel like the home, like you would be changing the home, but it feels like the career. So I would say if you're wanting to change jobs, I would wait till the beginning of the new year or get a job, because for some reason I feel like I'm not doing anything literally right now, but I do feel you'll have improvement, but it won't be soon. I hate to say that, but it feels like the first of the year.
All right, cool. Oh, now I got a bunch of them coming in. Are you okay still doing these? Because I don't know if you get tired. Because I don't know if it drains you.
No, then I just start dancing around and twirling around like a princess, and I'm good.
You'll start doing cartwheels?
I can't do a cartwheel. I never could. I was a cheerleader, and I couldn't do a cartwheel. Go figure.
All right, let me see. I had one I skipped by accident. I got to go back up on my little list here. Okay, Lori wants to know what direction will her immediate family be going in during the next year or so?
Okay, I'm in Florida. I hope she's talking about location. It's how I'm seeing this, I hope. But if not, I don't know. I'm kind of off then. I'm in Florida, literally. So when I say where I'm literally drawn is westward, it's weird with her. I'm going to tell her we were talking about Ancestry earlier today. And Ancestry.com and stuff, there's somebody lost looking for her. I'm not saying she's adopted or, I'm not sure, but there's something about family reconnections with her within her family. And there's either family that's lost that needs to be reconnected, or she's got some relatives that she's not aware of, or some adoptions, or somebody was adopted out. There's this feeling of people, I'm going to say your ancestry again, trying to reconnect the family. And it has something to do with black sheep in the family don't talk to the family anymore, or they're away, and then they're coming back into the family in the next couple of months, literally. But I literally also feel like there's some kind of adoption kind of thing, or somebody who is unknown, like if the father had a child out of there's something about the family growing like that, or needing to in some way.
I was waiting for a response. She hasn't responded yet in the chat room, so I'm not sure if you're hitting on it. I just saw her right there in a minute. Let me see, make sure. She put yes. So that's kind of cool that you came up with that.
But it's interesting. I almost feel like she's looking for family, and I don't know if there was a child. I keep feeling like there was a child given up. Someone gave up a child, like they either adopted out a child or they're looking for a child adopted, and thus somebody's pushing this person to help find these family members and bring the family closer together. But I also see going westward. So if she's wanting to move her family, then, from Florida where I am, I'm saying west. If not, she may find the people that she's looking for, the missing links in the west.
All right, I'm going to do two more, Ericka, and I just want to let everyone know I'll do two more, and then I want to talk with Ericka about Pensacola Paracon. So the next one I have is Stephen White wants to know if his father or mother has any message for him.
Let's go, Stephen. With Stephen, I don't connect with someone who's dead. I do see a really pretty blue car that reminds me of a truck that my friend has. It's like a blue sports car for some reason. It's really shiny, like a Trans Am or something. It's really cute. So I don't know if he's buying me a new car, not the Stephen guy. But for some reason, I see this car. And they focus more so on his thought process, which seems to be really, really boggled down right now. I don't know him personally, hopefully, but there's this thing about, like, worry about money, worry about debt, almost to the point of heart attack. But I don't feel like he's going to have a heart attack, but I feel like he's just got so much stress on his plate right now. And I feel like I have nobody to talk to or no way to resolve this issue. I see a lot of isolation with this person, like, away from, like, family or away from wife or away from friends. And they're trying to work out this thing, and I feel like they're internalizing a lot right now. And there's a creative outlet that they do. It could be ghost hunting, it could be music, whatever, but this kind of gives them balance. And I see them also doing a lot of historic things, and I'm not talking about the same thing like with her, like ancestry. I'm talking about, like, you know, how like architects like to look at the history of buildings or that kind of stuff, or the research or something like that. So I would say that this person, I focus more so on financial environment for him, not so much death, so I don't really get a message. But I will say that his financial situation is going to improve for him to hang in there, and he will have like a lot of stress on his plate right now. And I would tell him to check his blood pressure, because I feel like it's fluctuating, even though I feel like he's a thin guy, not a heavy guy. I feel like there's a lot of stress on him right now. So I'm going to give him a big hug right now.
Sending out a big hug.
Big hug to him.
I want to let you know, Lori said thank you in the chat room, and Steven just said thanks.
Thank you, too.
I'm actually going to do, I said I was going to do 2 more, but I'll do 2 more from now. The next one up, I know it's like, I feel bad because if someone sends one in, Dalton wants to know if there's any angels or nice spirits watching over his family.
Okay, let me focus on Dalton. Dalton, it's interesting. I don't know if where he lives there's water near, like some people live like by a lake or their house is near the ocean, but there's water connected to his location. No, he's not going to spring a leak or pipes or anything like that, but I get to feel, they take me to this place where there's water nearby. And it's funny that he would ask me about angels because I see fairies. I don't know if he collects fairies or he has a fairy I don't know, but I see fairies, not angels. I do feel that I see like a rosary hanging on the wall, like that's usually Catholic or some kind of spiritual sign. So I do feel the home is protected. And it's really weird because it doesn't feel like it's always been that way. There feels to have been. I was a psychology major, so a lot of times I get mental illness or depression or stuff like that. But there seems to have been a heaviness in the home before, and I don't know if he had it blessed or cleansed or the energy changed for some reason because of the environment. But it feels to be uplifted and light now, and I keep seeing this rosary hanging on the wall. So I would just tell him that his home feels protected, his environment feels protected. But keep the rosary hanging on the wall, or if he literally doesn't have a rosary, it's just symbolic for being angelic or protected. So I would say yes, there are beings, whether they're angels or fairies or ascended masters or ancestry, however you look at it, there are beings that are protecting him and his environment right now.
Dalton says thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, wait, Dalton, ask him, has he had his gallbladder removed, or does he have a cut on his stomach? And I can see his belly button, too, by the way.
No, he hasn't.
Okay, tell him to be careful.
All right, this is the last one. Michelle wants to know if you feel any spirits trying to make contact in her home with her.
I see a woman, literally a woman, making contact. Um, for me, this woman feels to be always there, around and about. I can't say it's a mother though, because it doesn't feel older like a mother. It feels more young, but it feels like a genuinely good spirit. And I just like see this person hug her. And the other lady that I saw, if this is the same Michelle, it was like I saw the other lady kiss her on the top of the head. But these are two different people. One is young, one is old, and the young one is like more of a hugger, what I would say is a hugger energy, or would stand behind the lady and almost like stroke her hair, touch her hair, smell her hair. So she could be like a maternal child, or she could be someone who feels like this girl is connected to her like a mommy or like a maternal feeling. She feels very connected to her for some reason.
All right, yeah, she said she was answering in a private chat. Yeah, she says thank you very much. And it wasn't the same Michelle. There's a few Michelles in the room, so that's what I was going to tell you, but I didn't want to interrupt you. And I want to do one more. I'm not going to tell you what the details are, but I want to ask you because.
Okay, and that Michelle that we were just talking about, let her. Or there are two babies around you, sweetie. Two little babies too that I need to tell you about that are hanging around you.
You want to tell her now, or do you want to?
Well, I think she probably can hear, but there are two babies. The Michelle that I just said that there was like the girl.
Yeah.
There are two babies around you, like hanging around you. They're not alive babies, literally, but they're just around you, almost like maternal. And one of those babies could have manifested as a grown adult, like how I saw it. But yeah.
Okay. Let's see what she's. She didn't give me an answer yet. I'll let you know, but she did say thank you on the last one. This is the last one I just want to do because Dee wants to know what is going on in her house.
Okay, let me see if I can go in Dee's house. Let's turn the doorknob and walk in. When I first walk in what feels like Dee's house, I see like this little white kind of rug-looking thing on the floor. I don't know, it feels like a half of a circle. I'm seeing like this half of the circle, so I don't know if this is a tile, little half a circle, or if this is a rug that's half a circle, but I feel something that's like light and half a circle. Then I feel like I could walk and touch like hardwood floors, not tile, not carpet. I go up with her, like, you know how we're talking about levels in a home, like downstairs, upstairs. I go upward with her. And all I hear, I don't see anybody, but I hear things. I hear noises. Like, you know, when your house settles and you hear, like, the noise in the attic, that kind of feeling. I feel like noise in the ceiling. I can't say it's an attic, but I feel noise in the ceiling. And I just saw a man walk through the wall, like, if she was in her bedroom, literally, she should be able to look at her door, because I'm like pretending like I'm sitting on her bed right now.
Yes.
She should be able to look at her door, and she should be able to, her door, and there's a closet right near. They're showing me my bedroom, which I'm in right now, so it's kind of like similar. And I just saw this man just walk from the wall, or out of the wall of my closet, but it was like wherever her closet is, it was the wall next to the closet. He just kind of walked out and disappeared. And he felt creepy. He didn't feel like her father or somebody like that. He felt kind of creepy the way he looked at me. So I don't know. She must have somebody that's kind of mischievous in the home. And it is a male, and he's big.
Do you feel he's negative?
Oh, God, one of my peeps said he's gangster. He's gangster. I'm not going to say he's negative. I'm going to say that he's a prankster and he's gangster. He would be mischievous. So, and ask her if she smokes, because I feel like this person would pick up a cigarette and move it, or pick up a box of cigarettes and move them someplace, and even maybe move keys or move something around to just irritate her to no end. And also, she's losing sleep. Literally, I feel like at night. There's a there's something weird about the bedroom for some reason. I'm drawn her physical bedroom that she sleeps in.
Yeah, you're right on with everything, she said. Do you have anything else?
Let me see. What was her name again? Because I'm getting Michelle back.
Oh, it's D-E-E.
D. Okay, let's see. D. Oh yeah, this is important. This person isn't like really, really positive because I don't know if people know her, and I don't want to tell business, but I would just say like this: if she's sad, she's got thoughts in her head that's not her thoughts, and I'm going to say that they're not positive thoughts. They're not going to take her over the edge, but I almost feel like her thoughts are not her thoughts. So this person has to be almost manipulating in some way. But I was thinking that they were hiding cigarettes or hiding this because they were trying to stop her from smoking. But it's not that. They seem mischievous, like they're getting a kick out of making her feel like she's nuts or interfering with her sleep or making her depressed or making her, not to the point of suicide, but just, making her depressed. And that's what I get. It's like a lot of that feeling.
Yeah, she says yes. She don't get a lot of sleep, and yeah, she said yes on everything. And she said the white carpet you saw wasn't white carpet because you said it was round at it. She has a big white dog.
Okay.
Very large dog. So that's you probably saw him. He lays near the front door, she said.
Okay.
So I thought that was kind of funny when she wrote that. Well, thank you very much for all these readings, Ericka. And everyone in the chat room, Dee just said thank you. Everyone thanks you very much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
That's awesome.
I love to do this. It's fun. It's like the skeptic in me. I'm like, okay, is it going to be right? And I just do it from the highest intent of the client or whoever I'm talking to. It's not really about the ego base. I think as long as you keep ego out of your psychic ability, it'll be clear. And you can be wrong. I mean, that's the whole thing. You're not a perfect. Humans are not infallible. They're human, and we are interpreting the messages that we see, that we hear, that we feel, that we taste, that we smell, and we can misunderstand. We can mishear. So I don't really get myself in a wad if it doesn't make sense, but I just do my best.
Well, people got to understand. Some people don't understand. I mean, I don't even understand psychics, sensitives, and that. But some people think, oh, well, they should be able to get like it's like a movie playing perfect for you, and they don't understand it. You get it's choppy sometimes. You're getting quick messages, and it's not always exactly coming through the way it should be. People think it should just be perfect, and I understand. Like I know some of the people that you gave a reading. Some people were like yes, some people were like no, that's not right. But half the stuff you said, which each reading you were hitting on right perfect, they said. So that's cool, though. But I'm glad.
And another thing to think about, too, is when you have dreams, you could be dreaming about your grandmother.
Yep.
Then you could be in a car riding down the street. Then you could be eating ice cream. Then you could be, back in the home that you had when you were 12. I mean, that's just how it works.
Yeah, it's not a, I don't know, perfect system. It depends how the message comes through.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Now, we're past 10:30. Are you still cool to keep going just a little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Because, like I always joke around, I'm my own network, so I can say when we can stop. And I think it's awesome. I got a couple more questions, not for readings, but I got a question from Michelle. She was wondering, do you belong to any investigating teams?
I don't really belong to any. We have a couple here in Pensacola. I find that my best resource or asset to teams across the country is if they have a case and they're having some difficulty or they have a client similar to kind of what we've done tonight and they want to vouch for, whether or not this is a legit haunting without having to go out and do all this setup and all this and that, or if this is psychological maybe, or if it is a legit haunting, where should or possibly they set up equipment? Because the client can say it happens in this room, but is it going to happen that night in that room? So I feel that a psychic like myself is utilized in that way. I don't belong to a specific team because we don't really have. We have some organized teams here, but they're kind of newbies. They're newbies in the field. So I'm just kind of like, I'm a freelance paranormal investigator. If you need me in Chicago and you can call me up, I'll work with you. I don't charge. If you need me in Florida, I'm here, and I'll talk with you or talk with the client. And that's just how I do it. So I'm a universal paranormal investigator.
That's cool. I know a lot of people that aren't with teams. They're just like, I call them freelancers. But I think it's awesome that you help these other teams out. And I don't know if people know, we were talking about this earlier, but Ericka was on an episode of Ghost Hunters when they did the Pensacola Lighthouse. And you were, well, you know what? You tell the story of how you were asked to come on there, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. It was I was doing a conference in Florida. I do Pensacola Paracon and Circle of Life and several other events, and we were having Chip Coffey come out, and he was going to meet and greet and do an investigation with his fans at the lighthouse. And during that same time, we had another investigation. I had to be at that investigation, so I wasn't going to be able to do the lighthouse. I'd pretty much lived here all my life, and I'd never been. So I was like, okay. A team called me up and said, hey, look, we want you to come out and walk out with us. We're going to be up. It was like about 2 or 3 weeks before my event. I'm like, cool, that's awesome because, now I get the chance and opportunity to go. Well, what they did, and this is what I recommend teams to do, is to follow the psychic, record them, give them a sheet of paper, let them make notes if you want to just record them while they talk. And just kind of let them do a walkthrough and just see what they see. Well, that ended up happening, and I hit on a lot of things that, were just unknown. And I think that once it was told to, well, it was a long story, but once it was told to the different people in the powers that be, that they, the lighthouse president insisted, wanted me to be on the show because he was blown away by some of the stuff that I told him. But one other thing, too, I want to caution teams, because I do believe you should use psychics and mediums in investigations. But, remember, I stress ego. Ego is a big thing for me, and I try to stay humble and realize that I'm just a vessel. It's not about me. Make sure when your psychic comes in, they're there to work with your team. They're not there to showboat. They're not there to be the life of the party. Oh, look at me. Look what I can do, blah, 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 blah. Because your information that you get, you're pretty much going to throw it away. You should, because it's not about the home. It's not about the spirits there. It's not about them. It's about the psychic. And a lot of times you'll find that those psychics that do that will give you false information, false positives, because they're about their ego or proving that they've got these wonderful special gifts. And that's not a good thing, my personal opinion.
Hey, it's funny, when you were talking about how they followed you around and you said, that's a good thing to do. I actually do that with my sensitive. My friend Rich Valdez does that in his team. They do we call it a psychic sweep. We have the sensitive or medium walk through first before we start investigating to see what they feel, and we document it with our video cameras. So then later, if we get any EVPs or we have any personal experiences or different things, we can be like, you know what, she said this was going on in this area, or she had a feeling here. I think it's awesome because it's just another piece of evidence or data you can use to back up if you caught something for a paranormal investigator, I think.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know this, but at the time of the Lighthouse episode, Samuel is the gentleman that I was talking to, and he's they're going to be doing this thing, and I said, you really make it shine. I mean, put Pensacola on the map. And I'm sitting here talking to him like he's my buddy, right? And I'm like, look, if you have something that you want to say, you make sure you say it so that they'll believe. And I said, how do you like your plaque? I said, because the plaque, the story with the plaque was they did not have a photo of Samuel in the lighthouse. And this really was what sealed the deal to these people, because they were like, nobody knows that we don't have a photo. And there are tons of photos on the wall of, lighthouse keepers. And I mean, you would assume that one of those would be Samuel. And I said, look, there's not a photo of him, and he wants his name made by hand in wood. And so I said, Samuel, I asked him, I said, look, I said, do you like your name that they made for you? I said, if you like the name that they made for you, I said, please give me a sign to just let me know personally that you did. And this isn't anything that I told anybody, like, through taps. It was just a personal thing between me and him. It was like, sailor honor. And it was interesting because the episode of Ghost Hunters, when they're in at the fireplace, and you'll see Samuel's name right there. It's a plaque if you go look at it. And Jason's flashlight goes off right where he's at the lighthouse, the little mantle with the Samuel plaque. And when I'm watching this, I'm just jumping up and down, freaking out, falling on the floor, crying, because I'm saying that is the best validation I've ever had in my life. And I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, I was just going crazy. Because on live TV, I knew exactly what that was about, and nobody else did, and it was special for me. But it was like the best validation I've ever had in my life, and I can watch it over and over and over again.
See, that's awesome when you get validation like that, especially when it's just more personal just to you. And like you said, that's not even it's not an ego thing. Like, you were doing it, so everybody's got to know. It's just was something personal, and it's like, I think it's cool when you get confirmation like that.
Yeah.
Now, before we run out of time, I want to talk about Pensacola Paracon. That's going to be October 15th and 16th. This is the second year it's happened, right?
Yeah, Pensacola Paracon was just, I've been doing conventions, and I really wanted to help get some of the areas in Pensacola highlighted that were haunted. The lighthouse, we did that one year, and we've done the Gray House, and we're doing the little theater in the Gray House and the Victorian Inn. And the concept of my events, different from others, is that, we get the big name celebs, and we have, people that, like you, big name too, that, come out and, for $35, you can meet George Norrie, you can meet, the who's who in the paranormal. But it's not really about the celebs for me at the events. It's about the attendees. And I always try to make my events very affordable. And I want you to get something from it. I don't want it to be about, I get to meet such and such. I want you to really learn something. I want you to enjoy it. I want you to have an experience and let it be something that makes you believe. And that's my whole thing. I want you to have an experience. I want you to believe. I want the KT meter to go off. I want that to happen, and I know for 100% you're going to have that experience for $35. So, I mean, you can't be you can't meet George Norrie for $35. I'm sorry. If you've got a book that you want to pitch, you need to come to Pensacola Paracon and give it to them for $35.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at the guest list, and you got a whole bunch of people coming on. And I was telling you, some of the people that are going to be there have been guests on my show over the last few months, and then we've talked about Pensacola Paracon on here, and it's going to be cool to be able to meet them in person.
Yeah, I was counting the guests. I think we have like 20. Yeah, I mean, I know other conferences have a lot of guests, but I think we have like 20-something guests. That are, either paranormal. Dr. Raymond Moody, who is a multi-million seller of Life After Death, Life After Life, and he's got a new book coming out. George Norrie, yourself. I'm going Christopher Booth, Ken Gerhardt, Dave Schrader of Darkness Radio, Brian Hornwell of Ghost Hunters, first episode in International, Scott Temperman of Ghost Hunters International, Brian Watley of Scott's of Alabama, Deborah Lance. I mean, there are a lot of different people, and if you go to PensacolaParacon.com or my Facebook page, you'll see the banner, and we list everybody on the website that's going to be there.
Yep.
And for $35 is what I say. I wanted it to be affordable. I didn't want to do the 200, 300, 400, that kind of thing. You can actually go to an investigation for $35. Go to the conference for $35 and meet these people. It's just an affordable event.
Now, for the investigation, there's an evening investigation at 3 locations on Saturday night and Sunday night, right?
Yeah, and pretty much what I'm telling people is you can actually sign up for the actual old jail, which is the convention in the daytime from noon to midnight. You actually go to the convention from noon to 7, I think, or 6, and then from 7 to midnight you actually investigate. And it's all for $35. I mean, so you don't have to pay an additional fee to investigate that location. You can do that on Saturday or Sunday. We do have additional locations that you can sign up for, and there's an additional fee. They're $35. Or you can get a gold ticket, which pretty much allows you to do all of the investigations, and they're $99.
See, that's awesome. Especially, I was looking at some of the locations. I actually got the banner up in the on the chat room right now, so people can look at it. And if anyone wants to check it out too, if you look at my Facebook, I'm always putting it on there, the link in that, so you can go check it out. Because I know there is some people up in towards your area. I know one of the ladies in the room that they're called the Old Gilchrist Jail Ghost Hunters.
Mm-hmm.
They have a jail right there in, God, I think it's, if I'm wrong, Trenton. I know it's up in Gainesville, near Gainesville. Yep, Trenton. And
okay,
they were giving you, sending an invite out to you if you want to come down sometime and just do a walk around, see if you pick anything up on there. They do.
Most definitely. I'll go to jail as long as I don't have to stay there.
Yeah. They're always doing tours there, and they don't charge people. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong in the room, Michelle and them, but I don't think they charge anybody still. They ask for donations, but they just let people come there and see what they can get for evidence in that. And a couple of them, you actually did readings for it, and that's why they were asking, if you want to come out and just do a walkthrough by yourself with them and see if you pick up on anything there. That'd be cool.
That sounds like something awesome. If I'm not your Facebook friend, Facebook add me, and let's see what we can do. I'd love to do that. I'm like one of these big skeptic psychics, and I love to go to locations and debunk. I'm into debunking. I should have been a skeptic, but I'm so into debunking. I'm like, no, that's not that. I don't feel that. I don't get that. But yeah, that sounds like a winner. Winner
right.
in the chicken dinner.
I will send them your way and on Facebook and maybe they can hook something up with you. I'll give you one word of advice. If you're gonna do it, I would go try and get November or beginning of December when it's cool. Because it is hot in there when if you do it during the summer hours, or Florida's pretty much summer hours all around. But if you can go, I don't know, do you like the heat or do you like the cold?
Literally, people that are around me that know me will tell you this. I'm 60 degrees all the time. You could literally I'll be normal body temperature 90 something. And then, if I say, okay, I'm getting goosebumps, there's a spirit behind me, you can literally put a thermometer behind me, right at the left or right of me, and you'll get it to, 50. And then I'll say, okay, they're gone now, and the temperature will go back to the normal. But I'm always cold, so I could be in a hot space and be fine. I could be in a cold space and be more freezing. But, I'm, just fine. I think it wouldn't matter which time I wear.
Hey, I actually forgot. I got to ask you one question about the jail, too. Tom Anthony, that's running the Paranormal Kicks Cancer event I told you, his team was just recently in there, and he said that was a wrong question about the cold or warm. The question is, do you do spiders?
Oh, God, no. But you know what? If I have someone with me to endure the spiders, we have I think it's Fort Morgan in Alabama, and Bomb Secure Paranormal, Richard Johnson, and their team had me come out and do that. And it was nighttime, and I'm walking around with a flashlight, and I'm bug phobic. I can do snakes. I can pick up rattlesnakes. They don't bother me. Snakes are like my friend. I can do lizards. But you talking about spiders? Oh, my God, that's phobia for me. So I'm walking around, walking in cobwebs. I'm okay, if it touches me, if it touches me, if it touches me. But yeah, if I have somebody with me to keep me not being a chicken, I think I can do spiders as long as they don't crawl on me.
They actually said
then I'm dead.
Yeah. They said they'll spray for you, and they said if you come actually in the colder weather, they're pretty much hibernated by then. So,
Okay.
so see, I'm telling you to go into cold weather. I'm giving you advice for it being cool and spider free. So, well, hey, it's almost 11 o'clock. Well, our time. I know it's only almost 10 for you, but I know a bunch of people got to get to work here. But I appreciate you coming on, Ericka. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. And I just want to ask, because we're with the Paranormal Kicks Cancer, I totally believe in what you're doing as well. With our event, we're also, all of the events that I do, I connect it to a charity because I believe that if you do something, you also have to give back. And with Pensacola Paracon, we are also donating a percentage of the sales to Making Strides of Breast Cancer Pensacola Events, which is my business. So if you also want to help promote, if you want to Facebook or put it on the link, your personal Facebook page, or if you've got a website that you want and you want to also promote our event as well as the Paranormal Kicks Cancer, I would appreciate you doing that, helping us spread the word, because I think from what I see, both of our events are definitely doing something to help, and I'm a strong believer in giving back. So I definitely would love for you guys to help both events out if you could.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Tom already said will do, and that's why we're doing the Paranormal Case Cancer. It's just about, just trying to gather some money to help put towards the cause to try and help those people that are in need, the families with, the kids that have to go through this. Because I don't know if you know, my daughter, she didn't pass away of cancer, but my first daughter passed away of heart disease. So I know what it's like to be sitting at the Ronald McDonald House and, needing funds like that to keep places like that open to help these families that are in such a tragic time. So I appreciate that, and I'll definitely, Tom and people in the room are saying definitely they'll help promote, okay,
Thank
Ericka?
you so much.
What?
And add me on Facebook. I play a lot of music.
I know, I see. You got like a lot of music, and it varies all over the place.
Yeah,
Well, that's
I have
awesome.
a ghost DJ that gives me song lyrics, and I have to Google them to figure out what song it is. It's the most hilarious thing. So I could go from playing country to rock and roll to blues. I mean, you just never know. I call it my ghost DJ. So
yeah, I know. I see that. You, like you said, you go from you go from country to rock, to rap. It's just like all over the place. Because I'll be seeing my thing. I'm like, what is she listening to now?
Okay, what kind of girl is that?
Yeah, it's like, oh, she just listens to everything.
Yeah.
But, hey, I appreciate
but some of it is my taste, but most of it is like my ghost DJ.
That's awesome, though. But hey, I appreciate you coming on tonight, taking the time out of your schedule and that. And I'll see you. I'll talk to you before it, but I'll see you in October for Pensacola Paracon.
All right, thank you, Bob.
All
Thank
right.
you, everybody that listened tonight. God bless, and remembering that this is September 11th. I just want to say that I appreciate it. I appreciate those that gave their lives to help others, and want to just give a blessing out to all the families that lost loved ones during this day. And please put them in your prayers tonight and forevermore.
Thank you, Ericka. You have a good night, okay?
You too.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Good night. That was, I tell you what, I don't want to toot my own horn, but this was awesome tonight. Ericka was great, very, very, very down to earth. And like she said, there's no ego, and it was awesome doing the readings. And most of the people that got readings were hitting up saying, yes, man, a lot of things she was hitting right on. And as people know, I'm not very, but I'm more down to the side of not as skeptic for mediums and that. And that just makes me less skeptic now for some of the things she was talking about tonight. So thank you, Ericka, for coming on, taking the time out.